Introduction to cost purposes, terms and purposes, and we're at the end of the chapter, which is always a good thing, and these are just a couple final thoughts. The learning objectives, what we've looked at so far is, remember, we started out talking about, first of all, defining a cost object, and the idea is that it could be anything, and then we distinguish between different types of cost, direct versus indirect, variable versus fixed. All right, then a little caveat there to be careful about interpreting unit costs, because when unit costs include fixed costs. Okay, then we distinguish between inventoriable costs from period costs. And finally, we illustrated the flow of inventoriable and period costs and developed an income cost of goods manufactured in an income statement, which you want to make sure that you can do. Now, this last thing we're going to do is just look at why product costs are computed in different ways, and then finally talk about a framework. So it's really sort of a way to think about cost accounting and cost management. Now, measuring costs requires judgment because there are so many ways for management to define and classify costs. You need to have judgment, and you need to have, as the accountant, you need to have independence and strong theory, and be on your guard for somebody who's classifying something as an asset when it really should be an expense. Okay, your integrity is one thing you can never get back. I mean, once it's gone, it's big trouble. And you'd be surprised, it's a small profession, everybody knows everybody. So you need to make your own decisions. And managers, accountants, and suppliers and others should agree on the classifications and the meaning of cost terms that are in this chapter and then throughout the book. Okay, so everybody's on the same page. Now, many cost terms used by organizations have ambiguous meanings, or it might be something that the corporation has called it for years and years, and it doesn't mean anything to anybody on the outside. So consider the term product cost as an example. A product cost is the sum of the costs assigned to a product for a specific purpose. Okay, and some different purposes might include pricing and product mix. Okay, decisions about pricing and product mix look at a completely different set of costs than contracting with government agencies, for example. These use specific definitions of what is allowed in a cost plus profit contract. All right, and they're audited and everything. There's no variation here. And then finally, if you're preparing external use financial statements, you must use GAAP. Okay, so these different purposes can result in different measures of product cost, and there's a nice illustration on the next slide. I really like this. It's a good slide. This shows all product costs from research and development to design, production, marketing, distribution costs, and then customer service. So all of these costs are really product costs. The only time we use all of them is when we're making pricing and product mix decision. To make a pricing decision and leave out customer service would be suicide. You'd be out of business. Okay? These are all costs that you've got to have an idea of to see maybe what needs to be pared down to make a product saleable. Okay? So for pricing and product mix, we'll include all these costs. For reimbursement under government contracts, they'll pay for design costs and production, and then some of R&D. Okay, usually after the product is feasible, and maybe after they have the contract, you might have something special to do for them. So there'll be some R&D. And then finally, for financial statement purposes, they would just use production costs. But this is a good way to think about it, and a good way to think about all these different pieces that are part of product cost. Okay, and finally, we've got a framework here for cost accounting, and these ideas are developed further in chapters 3 through 11, and they also form the foundation for later chapters as well. Okay, and these are the three features of cost accounting and cost management. Can be used for a wide range of applications for helping managers make decisions. And the first one is product cost. Okay, products, services, and other cost objects. Second is information for planning and control and for performance evaluation. Okay, key features of a management job. And then finally, to analyze relevant information for making decisions. Okay? All right. Do all the problems. Do them on a blank sheet of paper without any notes. Make sure that you can do them from just from your head, okay, without anything else. And use the My Accounting Lab problems just for quick practice to make sure that you understand some of the basic concepts. They're really good for that. You've got unlimited access to them. And what else should you do? Study for a quiz. Okay.